talk to me about kind of how that led to mixed makeup, right? Which was, I think, kind of your biggest breakout success in terms of kind of the building block for all the other kind of media
Mhm.
entities. What made you decide that that's the right idea? That's what I want to focus on. I know some of it has to do with your background and how you're raised and those kinds of things, but talk to me a little bit about that, as well as like what makes successful content, right? So what is it like? Because people didn't just subscribe to your channel for no reason, right? They did it for a reason.
Mhm.
So talk to me a little bit about how that led to mixed makeup, and then ultimately how, when you think about what makes a good piece of content, what does that mean? What boxes does it need to check?
Yeah. So mixed makeup. I don't know if you've gone, I'm sure you have, because you own your own businesses. When you go through, like trying to find a name that you can trademark, right?
Yep.
Even, now
Yep.
I think it's even worse, but back then it was still a terrible thing to do. Like you'd have to go through all these exercises of trying to figure out a name that's not taken, especially on social media and a website and all of it, right? And so I had owned for the longest time mixed makeup. And the concept behind it was it was just a personal blog about, I have always been very, interested in like learning more about both of the cultures that I grew up in, or that I am. I'm half Mexican, half Korean. I grew up in a primarily Latino, very dominated. It was a Latino neighborhood and community in New Mexico. A little bit in Texas. My dad was in the military, and then we, moved to New Mexico when he got out because that's where he's from. And so it was a predominantly Latino community, and my mom really just kind of she loves the Latino community, and she loves the culture, so she really just kind of accepted that as her own. And so I really grew up in this Latino community. But as a half Korean woman, or Korean girl at the time, it was just interesting to grow up with a different perspective, because even though I was half Latino, the Latino kids didn't see me as Latino at all. I was Asian to them. But then if I ever like hung out with anyone Korean, because my mom's friends were in town or she wanted to take me to a party or something, I was absolutely not Korean to them. Right. So it was like a very interesting perspective growing up. And so
Yeah.
when I came up with the blog name, Mixed Makeup, it was really a play on words, because I was in beauty. I was a beauty editor and everything. But I was kind of doing a little play on words with my mixed biological makeup. Right.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just really wanted to kind of focus on that. And at the time also, there never really felt like there was anyone like me. Right. I never met anybody who was half Asian, half Latino, especially. Right. Even though now California has, I guess, like the largest population of half Asian, half Latino. So we're obviously starting to become somebody, right? Anyway, so that
But
was
that's
a
got to be hard, right? To
yeah.
always feel different, no matter what group you're in.
Hmm.
You're always different, right? Not bad, but different every time. And in
Yes,
some cases, I'm sure there was, negative connotations as
absolutely.
well.
That
So
there were positives and negatives for sure, but it really did obviously shape me. And so I happened to have that blog and that name. It was trademarked already. I was like, let's go with this, right? I knew I wanted to start. At the time, these small digital media companies were still a thing, and so that was really the concept behind Mixed Makeup. I did not intend to be the main talent on camera for the channel. I, in fact, sometimes get exhausted by this whole concept of like always having to get ready and like have this certain appearance and a certain character or whatever it is online, right? And so I
mhm.
really didn't intend to be the main face of the channel. I really wanted it to be pretty broad, but you could see the trends kind of shifting with social media at the time. And I think the big issue with media companies even now is that it takes them so long to catch up to what the trends are. Even if they can see what's happening, there's so much bureaucracy. There's just everything is already set into place, and they can't just make this quick shift. And social media moves so quickly that if they can't do
Mhm.
that so quickly, if they can't make any changes quickly, then they're not going to keep up, right? So social media, the big shift has been towards the personality, like I said, right? And so I think like the big thing to remember is that people, when they follow you, they're following you because they either feel like they're learning something from you, they're being entertained by you, they feel like they connect with you in some way. So if you are, I like, if I look at my following, a lot of my following is like Asian moms or Latina moms, right? Like they feel like they connect. I actually realized recently there are a lot of people of mixed biological race, right, that follow me as well, because
Yeah.
we all have this very unique perspective. So people are actually, they're seeing something that they connect with in you as the creator. So that's like number one, is to always remember that they follow you, right? Like you are the
Yeah.
person that they are following, and there's a reason for that. I think the second thing to remember, though, is it goes back to that either you're entertaining or you're educating or you're doing both, right? And so you have to always do that. I think, especially with TikTok, I see a lot of the young creators who I speak to, especially, that are trying to build their social media. They don't add any value, though, right? Like, sure, you could be cute and maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get really popular because you have really cute outfits on and stuff that you show. But there are a lot of people doing that, and there are a lot of cute people out there, right? Right? Like, what is it that stands out about you? Even if you don't think that you were, like even growing up, if you were teased because you weren't, I guess, like stereotypically cute to everybody else or something like that, use that, like this is what is what's going to make you stand out. So you have to add some type of value. For me, it was, talking about stuff that I feel like in the beauty space, that I felt like really didn't get the attention that it needed. And that was cosmetic treatments and skincare, right? Like I talk about, other beauty stuff too, like hair and makeup and all that stuff, but that was never my thing. I'm not a makeup artist. I'm not a hairstylist. I just am a very informed consumer because I've been in the space for so long. And so for me, especially after I got pregnant, we talked about this actually, when I left to start Mixed Makeup, I never saw it as like, I'm going to become an influencer. I saw it as, I'm going to start a media company. I'm starting a brand. And then it wasn't until I actually got pregnant and I started to experience all the changes that happened with my body and my face and my skin and everything, that it really clicked for me that, there is a demographic out there that's probably underserved when it comes to skincare, because I can't even find this information for myself, right? At least not good information, right? Like I'm not trying to find the latest viral product for my skin. I'm trying to find real answers here, right? And so I luckily had access as an ex beauty editor, as a person who had an already like a following. At that point, like I think I had about 400,000 followers, subscribers on YouTube. So I had pretty good access to experts, to dermatologists and plastic surgeons and estheticians and everything. So I really started to put that focus on there. And I think that was the really big shift for me was, I decided I was going to focus the channel in on me as the main talent, and also focus in on what kind of topic I focused on. And that was skincare. I also really, the whole concept of the channel from the get-go was there was this demographic of women, especially, who were, 25 to 35, 40 years old, which seemed like an old, demographic. There's jokes now on TikTok and everything, like if you were born after 1995 or something, you were like an old, or before 1995, you're like old, right? It's like, oh, this is so ridiculous. But it turns out like, we're the people spending the money. We're the people with the issues. We're the people that are actually going to go and like, we need content too. And
yeah, totally.
so I thought when I was starting Mixed Makeup, I was like, there is this population of women who are not getting the content they need. Like everyone thinks that you should only be serving content to teenagers because they're the only ones on YouTube at the time. This is now what we talk about with TikTok, right? They were the only ones on YouTube at the time. And I remember I was trying to get investors and everything, and they were like, you're a little bit old. I was like 31. Okay. They're like, you're a little old to be on camera. You should really be looking at like some teenagers, at least like an 18-year-old to bring on as talent. And I was like, you're not getting the point. If you create the content, it has to be better researched. It has to be better produced. It has to be high quality content. If you produce the content, they will come. And so, all these men especially were like, well, we don't know about this. It's like cute, but no, we're not going to do this. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this myself. So that's when I went in like full force, just, trying to find that demographic of women who were between the ages of like 25 to 40. And it turns out I was right. Surprise, surprise. Like it turns out they wanted that content, and now like I think the channel really spans as far as the demographic. We have like anyone between like the ages of 18 to even like 50, right? Which is kind of wild to think. And the real turn for me was when I started something called skincare reaction videos. And I think the reason why that clicked for everybody was because it really simplified skincare, but it made it educational and also very fun, right? Very entertaining. And so once that started to happen, it just clicked for everybody. I really, like, at the time, there was like nobody talking about skincare. There were maybe like a handful of people talking about skincare, and we were definitely not the cool kids. Like when we got invited to events, if we got invited to brand events and stuff, nobody would talk to us. Like we were just not the cool people at all, the skincare people, not at all. There was like no community. And then after skincare reaction videos started, the community exploded. I feel like skincare just like, and we've seen, obviously, you've probably seen the stats on skincare. It has been this growing, topic and focus on social media. And I think it's because for a lot of people, and I'm not saying it was because of me entirely. Obviously, there are a lot of people talking about skincare, but I know for my followers, especially, skincare reaction videos really helped skincare education click for them because it just simplified everything. It made it less intimidating, I guess.